Welcome to Palace of the Dead. Originally I was planning on making a fully fledged guide for this, as it is an entirely new concept added to Final Fantasy XIV. However, beyond a few new things, there's not much to be explained. It is fairly straightforward, and most players, either new or veteran, can pick up on it rather quickly. So I decided to just go over a few things that you might find new going into Deep Dungeon, and offer an overall what to expect from running it. You can pick up the quest required for Palace of the Dead New Gridania, just outside the Adventurers Guild. This dungeon can be entered as soon as you hit level 17, making it the first piece of major content to be added where players of pretty much any level can enter. For those of you who prior to the patch have not really looked into Deep Dungeon, there's quite a few concepts that separate this from regular dungeons. 1. This dungeon is much larger and is randomly generated. That means rooms, enemies, treasure, it's all random, giving you a different run each time you go through. It currently has 50 floors, but it has been mentioned in some interviews as possibly expanding. 2. When you enter it, your class or job gets reset to level 1. Keep in mind that it only resets during Deep Dungeon and will return to normal when leaving. However, some experience you get from Deep Dungeon carries over to your character, meaning that you can technically level from this. You level fairly fast within Palace of the Dead, as I got to level 60 in roughly 3 to 4 hours. This is, keep in mind, with constant non-stopping the dungeon. If you enter at level 60, you are awarded Tomestones of Esoterics and Lore each 10 floors you complete in place of experience. 3. You tackle the dungeon 10 floors at a time. This means that floors 1 to 10, 11 and 20, and so on. Each 10 floors there is a boss, and you can save your progress and stop or go to the next set of 10 floors. 4. There are no role requirements. Throughout my experience, I've only run across one tank. It puts you in the dungeon with 4 other people if you decide to go in with a match party. This means that you might be in there with 4 DPS, 4 healers, or any sort of combination of 4 you could possibly imagine. Those are the basics of Deep Dungeon. The rest of the dungeon is fairly easy. If you know how to dodge AoE, then its bosses should be no problem to you. Treasure chests can contain strength upgrades to your gear, or certain items which you can use to either temporarily boost your strength, defense, or transform you into a few things which can benefit greatly. Like the Manticore can one-hit almost anything, like, come on. At the end of each floor, there will be a sphere with a protruding circle which all party members will stand in to advance to the next floor. Throughout the dungeon, you will encounter these red marks on the ground. These are called traps. I don't think you need me to tell you to avoid them. They can silence you, make you unable to do pretty much anything for 30 seconds, or turn you into a toad, which pretty much does the same thing. So just avoid them. Each floor can also sometimes give everyone a buff or debuff directly when starting. These can help or cripple you depending on what it is. Sometimes it can make you faster, sometimes it can lower your damage or max HP. Sometimes it can say lol JK and remove whenever it gave you after 5 seconds. When encountering the later floors, time may be of an essence, so communicate with your party to decide whether or not to go for the full or the fast run. That's pretty much all you need to know going into Palace of the Dead. Once again, I wanted to make this a more detailed, in-depth guide, but I would have just ended up stretching out unnecessary bullshit. You should have no troubles getting through all the floors. So with that being said, enjoy the new content and thanks for watching. I'm your ghost host Reki, and I hope you enjoy the Deep Dungeon.